What up, homies? We are here exploring the Tao Te Ching, chapter 5. Yeah, we on 5. We on 5. Oh boy, man. So far, it's been a journey. I've been enjoying myself thoroughly. This stuff's giving me some real food for thought. The last time we spoke together, we were on chapter 4, and it talked about the infiniteness of the Tao, right, and how it encompasses all things and allows one to see clearly or clearer through all the confusion and mess of the world, which is a pretty valuable skill. So I'm excited to see like what wisdom and just nuggets that we can glean from chapter 5. So without further ado, let's jump right in, man. Let's see what we got here. As always, starting with the online interpretation / translation, moving to the book, and then we'll see what we can gather from both. All right, so 5. Heaven and earth are not kind. Oh, it's starting off heavy. I don't disagree, but wasn't expecting that right off the bat. They regard all things as offerings. The sage is not kind. He regards people as offerings. It's not the space between heaven and earth like a bellows. It is empty, but lacks nothing. The more it moves, the more comes out of it. A multitude of words is tiresome, unlike remaining centered. All right, fellas, there's a lot to unpack here. So let's take our time, work our way through it, and see what we can. Okay, so heaven and earth are not kind. They regard all things as offerings. So to me, this is kind of stating the reality that the earth, the heavens are not here for any one person specifically, right? They're their own entity that's objective, and things are here, or things are set in motion without taking into account how it might affect you personally. You know, it's not about you. The sage is not kind. He regards people as offerings. The sage. This is something that I'd probably want to see another translation on, but sometimes I think about like rulers, right? Like emperors or people that are high up in power, and how that mindset, or people that have a certain level of power, sometimes no longer see people as like human beings or even care about their lives, and they only really see them as tools or resources, you know, where they see every person in a kind of utilitarian capacity, where like, what can I get out of this person, or what they can offer me, you know? So I wonder if that's kind of what this is touching on. It's not the space between heaven and earth like a bellows. It is empty, but lacks nothing. So like the sky and space, and how like it's the void, right? Where like there's nothing there, but it's also not missing anything either. And the more it moves, the more it comes out of it. So going into kind of the infinity of the Tao, and how it's inexhaustible is what I'm getting out of that. So a multitude of words is tiresome, unlike remaining centered. So maybe this is stating like, when you try to use a bunch of words or express something through that method, right? Express something vocally, or with pretty or decorative words, it gets old, you know. It can get exhausting for like not only yourself, but the people around you. And there's something that's calming and true about remaining centered and not feeling as though you have to be performative, you know, like not performing for others and not performing for yourself. Like you're getting rid of falsehoods, basically, is what I'm getting out of it. That's what I'm getting. So this is chapter 5. We're definitely going to have to look at this bad boy, man. Let's see this alternative translation and see what this says. So chapter 5, cultivating emptiness. The cosmos obeys its own rules. It has no inclination to benevolence. It treats creation like ritual objects to be used according to their purpose. So utilitarian, right? Where it's saying that like that the cosmos, the heaven and earth, are not here for your subjective whims or what works for you, but they use things and allow things to happen according to their purpose, like naturally, you know. And I think that's something that people get mixed up, is nature isn't necessarily about being good. It's not about being good at all. It's just it is what it is, you know, like some animals are stronger and overpower other animals in order to eat. Like some things die so that other things can live. You know, it's not about being nice or good so much as it is, this is just how things work. The wise man obeys his own rules and has no natural inclination to benevolence. So that's actually a really interesting point. So it's saying that an individual who's wise doesn't try to act in a way that's benevolent or good towards others, but rather obeys the rules that they set for themselves. You know, they create their own boundaries and way of living that isn't derived or cultivated from everybody else around them and societal expectations. It's pretty good wisdom. He treats the people like ritual objects to be used according to their purpose. Is the cosmos not like a pair of bellows? So going back to like a wise man and is similar to the cosmos in that they treat those around them, I guess, purposefully and how they should be treated rather than out of some false sense of benevolence or social pressure. You know, they treat them according to their own belief systems, what they believe to be true and correct, and not out of some societally created pressure. Bellows are empty and inexhaustible, but the more they are worked, the more they produce. So going back into the inexhaustible and, infinite nature of the cosmos. And the more we try to define, the more we diminish. Far better to cherish unspoken inner understanding. And that's actually a really good definition. So this part in the Tao text, well, the Tao text that we have here, I'm not going to say it's definitive Tao text, but the more we try to define, the more we diminish. So the more that we try to place labels and place our limited understanding on something, the lower and more lacking we make that thing that we're trying to label. So the wise man believes that it's far better to cherish the unspoken inner understanding. So having an understanding that isn't derived based on like flowery words or definitions or labels is much more calming and to be cherished than anything that can be spoken in words. And I mess with that heavy because I think about like relationships that I have with like some activities and some people that just we may have never outright stated how we feel about each other or how we feel about what's going on, but we know that it's something special and holds a deep meaning for us, and there's no need to try to use words to communicate that fact. You know, the fact is just there and it's present, and it doesn't need words for it to become real. This is a heavy chapter, man. This is a really heavy chapter. So it talks about the utilitarian nature of the cosmos and how a wise person is sort of utilitarian but what I'm getting is not necessarily about like using people in a bad sense, but just identifying that each person has a purpose, you know, that nobody's here. It's just necessarily just put here for our whims and to do what we want, but each person has an individual purpose, and the wise individual knows how to treat people in accordance with their purpose, I guess. And the importance of cherishing and utilizing unspoken bonds and how things are made more special, or you feel something more special towards something when you don't have to use labels that diminish and use our limited intellect to try to define something. You know, like when we try to put our limited mental capacities on something, we automatically diminish it or limit it based on the boundaries of our understanding, if that makes sense. You know, like we can only cognitively define something based on the limits of our human brain, right? But what I'm understanding from this is that the cosmos and like the Tao and the way is more defined through feeling and accepting, like feeling. It's more derived through feeling than it is cognitively. You know, it's not about thinking about something or thinking about how the world should be, but rather feeling and accepting what is and allowing yourself to cherish that moment is what I'm getting. My brain is baking, boy. This is some deep stuff. All right, I think I'm gonna call it here, man. Chapter 5 is something serious, man. Chapter 5 is something real serious. We might have to revisit that one, but I think I kind of got an acceptable enough understanding for myself right now to be able to move forward. But this is one that's definitely worth talking about, man. How did you guys interpret it? What did you think? Talk to me in the comments. I want to definitely hear your thoughts on this one because it's pretty dang heavy, man. There's a lot there. So yeah, let me know how you guys felt. I really want to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. I'll talk to you guys again in chapter 6. Gave us some food for thought, man. See you in the next one.